Welcome back to Keeg's Custom Builds. Today we're going to be replacing the power steering gear seal right here on the input shaft. It's leaking down in that section right there. So we're going to spin that cap off after we pull this shaft off right here and get that replaced. So what you're going to need to do this job is a hammer, a long punch, and a 14mm wrench right here. That'll be to take the steering shaft off. And then the long punch will be used to take out the end of that cap right there. You can see the little notches carved into it. You'll just hit it off like a normal bolt would come out. So let's get the steering shaft off and then we'll pull that cap and replace the seal. So you're just going to pull the bolt out like that. Make sure the shaft is in a easy to remember place. As you can see, mine is just straight up aligned with that mark right there, so I don't mix it up. So make sure you don't spin this inner shaft that's in the gearbox or this one, so it's a whole lot easier to put back together. Now since this one's being a pain, I'm going to have to stick a screwdriver in there, turn it back and forth a little bit like that, spread it out so that I can slide it off easier. And just like that, the steering shaft is off. Now let's move on to pulling this cap off right here. So doing this with one hand is probably going to be impossible. So you can see the end of the punch right there sits down inside the notch. And then I'm just going to take the hammer and hit it down gently so I don't jack up that cap. But now I'm going to set down the camera and get that done. And now hopefully you can see this. It just spins off like that. Once you get the cap loosened, it'll come off like that. And the next thing you do is you'll slide out this end piece right here, and that is where the seal's gonna be. And that's what it'll replace to stop this leak. So this pump is a little bit different than the one I thought I was working on. This is actually the end cap spins out of there. Those threads on the side just continue on down. So I stuck one of these guys right here. There's two holes in it. There's a hole in it right there and right there. And now the end cap is out. Pull it out like that. Of course, it's going to make a huge mess. Anyway, the seal is right there. We're going to pry that out. Then we're going to get it replaced real quick. All right, I got it punched out from the front. You can see right there, you just hit it on the edge right there with a screwdriver, knocks it out. Now I'm going to get the other one pushed in. Now you want to make sure that this inner surface right here is nice and clean. Just a little bit of oil on it to help it slide in easier. But anyway, it's going to be an issue. That's the wrong size. So I guess we're going to be getting another seal here. This isn't the right one apparently. And I'm back. I have a new seal. Here's the old one. And this is the kit number right here. Unfortunately, you can't buy just the seal for this. For the power steering box, you can only buy the manual steering seal, because that's what the last one was. So instead you have to buy the whole kit, which is slightly annoying. But anyway, we're gonna knock this one in. I have a big punch right here. You have to be careful to only hit on this outside edge right here. So just gonna punch it in like that and be really careful not to hit that intersection or tear it up or anything. So let me get that knocked in now. I got it hammered in now. You can see it's sitting slightly below that bearing surface there, which is also a little bit pitted up from rust because this pump sat with water in it for a while, but that should be fine. And you can see that it is just about flush with the outside and sat all the way down in there, which is perfect. Now we're gonna go stick it on the truck. You can see the steering gear down there. I just got a little bit of oil out of it to put in the seal because you don't want it tearing when you put it on there. Now that it's a little bit lubed up, can slide it over the end. Just like that. Uh-oh. I'm gonna have to hold on to that shaft and put it in at the same time. All right, I got that center section threaded in there, and I got this outer ring knocked back on. You want to get it pretty tight, but clearly don't go knocking off the edges on that, on the little cutouts right there. So just get that snugged up, and then I'm gonna stick this steering shaft back on here. Once you get your steering shaft started on there, depending on how rusty the shaft is and the inside of this yoke is, you're gonna have to punch it on. So mine went on like that. It's looking good. I'm gonna tighten that up. I think it was a 14 millimeter, and then we'll pretty much be done for this job. And just like that, it's all reassembled and connected, and everything is looking good. So all I have to do is bleed out the power steering system now. And I imagine that it probably drained it all out while it was sitting here. So I'm just gonna pour this in here, start it up, and then just keep pouring it in until it finally stops sucking it all the way down. And just like that, the power steering system is bled. You can see down there, there aren't any drips. What it was doing before is it would just be dripping out of there while it's running, and then when you shut it off, it would drain out the power steering reservoir. You can see up here, still perfectly full from yesterday, which is awesome. And you may be asking yourself, why is there an 86 power steering gearbox down there? That's because this is a 94 Tacoma two-wheel drive frame that we frame swapped onto here. It's got the high steer arms, the full 9 yards. If you want to see more about that frame swap, I got a series on it on my YouTube channel for you guys to go watch if you want to see it. But I think that's going to be it for today's video. Like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed it. Keeg out.